So AI is great, but it's not perfect. And when you're working in fashion, sometimes perfection is actually required because it just impacts your return rates. And so we had one particular challenge that we got is where we had this shoe, and the shoe has a very particular measurement on how it is. The tip is just very different, and that is something that AI just does not understand. And for that to happen, we actually had to develop a custom workflow, not just for this shoe, but just for particular problems like this, where AI just doesn't know what the size is and how to act with it. And so we actually got the 3D files in order to see what we can come up with, because this was what they're dealing with, that AI, like NanoBanana, was giving you some kind of shoe, but it's not the actual shoe that they were selling in that sense. Like there was no tip that was actually functioning. Even from a top view, I have some other images as well. And so the challenge was, how do we make sure that we keep the fidelity of the shoe, and we can do that at scale? In order to do that, we developed a workflow where we would need to diffuse texture map, so that, and of course a 3D model. This is an FBX file, but there's also accepting other type of files. That was technically the only two things that we need in order to operate this custom workflow that you can now scale to millions of assets. And so I'll give you an example that was coming out here. So this is just an image I got out of Pexels. I kind of like the top view because you kind of wanted to showcase that you need that little tip that is different in that sense. And so this is actually what came out of the workflow. And I kind of like this because you can kind of now compare. You can kind of see that this tip box is there. And now you actually are showcasing the actual product that is coming out of the factory basically. And so one of the things that we noticed is that it's not perfect yet. We're still working and we're finalizing actually the workflow by tomorrow, but I wanted to share some progress along the way, because while we were basically doing the R&D, we noticed our Sentinel, which is our scoring mechanism, actually showcased that there is still a few of the problems coming out. First problem, for example, is that the branding of the tongue labels was not rendered fully descriptive, so the text was not readable in that sense. There was a small color drift on the left side, and there was a stitching lost on the left side as well. So there's still some things that we're still catching to figure out, okay, this is good, this is bad, but we're getting very close to making it happen where you can actually now just do any shoe in the world. And we're using the 3D technology to actually start rendering AI images at scale as well. And now you can do like cool stuff like putting it in a square, rendering it for like your homepage or something like that. So there's all these cool things that you can now start happening. And I think even for this one, it's not perfect yet because we're seeing still some errors that are coming off basically. So there's still some things that we're finalizing this week, but we're getting very close to being able to render really cool shoes. This is one, for example, one shot that we got right in order to, even get the difficult shoes from the 3D model all the way to AI images. So yeah, this is something cool that we're sharing along. Feel free to, comment on anything that you're seeing or how to improve things. We're always on the lookout for new stuff. Cheers.